Genshin Impact has quietly set the stage on fire again because version 6.6 banner details have surfaced, and there's a lot unfolding behind the scenes right now. New characters are stepping into focus, older favorites are lining up for a return, and the overall meta could be heading toward a noticeable shift. And this isn't just about banners either, because we're also looking at new expansions and changes that already stretch into 6.6 and even beyond. The pace at which these updates are stacking up is starting to feel different compared to earlier patches, almost like the game is building towards something much bigger. So let's break everything down step by step and get a clear picture of what's coming next. Before moving ahead into 6.6, let's quickly revisit what's locked in for Phase 2 of version 6.5. The Lauma and Nefer banners are confirmed to go live on April 28th. As for the expected 4-star rate-ups, Xingqiu, Carrara, and Jahoda are currently rumored to be featured, and honestly, that lineup fits smoothly with the banner patterns we've been seeing recently. It also gives a decent mix of utility and flexibility for players who may be saving for upcoming patches, but still want value from these banners. Now moving into the core highlight. Version 6.6 is right around the corner, and we now have confirmed details about the key characters arriving in this patch. Version 6.6 introduces Nicole, Lohen, and Prune, and this trio alone could shift how teams are being built moving forward. Nicole is already being talked about as one of the most impactful additions in quite some time. As one of the original witches, she already carries strong lore importance, but what's really grabbing attention is her gameplay potential. She is a pyro support built specifically for Varka teams, functioning as a shielding unit while also providing buffs, which is a combination that tends to age very well in the meta. Nicole increases attack for the entire party through her selfless boon, which can then evolve into Sacred Benediction, allowing her to deal AoE damage, refresh buffs, and grant a Radiance shield. Her burst enables coordinated attacks that scale with the active character's ATK and even adapt to their element, making her extremely flexible in different team setups and not locked into just one composition. On top of that, she also brings a unique exploration passive where her charged attack works like a treasure compass, guiding players toward nearby chests, which adds a quality of life benefit outside of combat. For players focusing on mono-elemental teams, Nicole is looking very close to a must-have. Alongside her, Lohen joins in 6.6 as a cryo-polearm character. Current expectations suggest that he may eventually be added to the standard banner pool, which could make him more accessible over time compared to limited units. Lohen is designed as a DPS centered around his stratagem state, where he identifies enemy weaknesses and unlocks Piercing Frost, which is enhanced through team-generated triumph stacks. His attacks become infused with cryo that cannot be overridden, and his burst consumes all stacks to deal high-scaling damage through rapid strikes. When used during stratagem, his burst duration extends, allowing him to maintain damage for longer periods and making him more consistent in extended fights. Then there is Prune, who serves as an off-field Anemo support and sub-DPS hybrid, bringing utility that goes beyond standard swirl interactions. Characters like this often end up being more valuable over time as new team combinations emerge. We have already covered their full kit details in a previous video, so if you want a deeper breakdown, you can check that out. Looking at reruns for 6.6, Durin stands out as a strong possibility. Pairing Nicole and Durin within the same phase would make a lot of sense strategically, especially for players focusing on Varka-based teams, since it would allow them to build a strong core without waiting across multiple patches. For the final rerun slot, Mavuka is expected to return, which could round out the banner with a solid mix of options for different types of players. After that, version 6.7 enters the picture, and this is where things start to shift in tone. This patch is shaping up to be a major highlight, centered around the Fatui Harbingers, and the overall atmosphere of the update already feels heavier compared to earlier patches. The main new character here is Sandrone, also known as the Marionette. She is expected to arrive with a redesigned playable version and a kit focused on superconduct, potentially involving puppet mechanics and off-field interactions. While full details are still pending beta confirmation, the overall direction is already clear, and the artifact set introduced in 6.6 appears to be designed specifically for her, which usually signals strong intended synergy. Sandrone's debut could mark one of the biggest turning points as the game moves closer to the Snezhnaya arc. Even if her full reaction ecosystem is not complete yet, She may be setting up future characters, similar to how earlier releases quietly prepared the meta for Nod Cry, laying foundations before the full system is revealed. There is also strong expectation that Raiden Shogun will receive her rerun during this phase. Historically, major characters, especially Archons, tend to return toward the end of a regional cycle, which makes Columbina a very likely rerun choice as well. And while not confirmed in leaks, there is a possibility that either Riotously or Seatlolly could take the final slot, depending on how the banner structure is finalized. Version 6.8 remains mostly unclear at the moment. There is no confirmed banner lineup yet, but based on how things are progressing, more surprises are almost guaranteed as the story continues to unfold and transitions toward the next major region. A rerun for Zebai is expected, along with one of the remaining characters between Riotously or Seatlolly who may have missed their earlier rerun, which would help balance out recent banner rotations. Looking further ahead, early information suggests that the next region will heavily focus on cryo-based reactions. Leaks point toward a new category of elemental reactions called stellar reactions, centered around cryo. These are expected to include stellar conduct, which acts as an upgraded version of superconduct, along with stellar swirl and a completely new interaction between cryo and dendro. If this system is implemented the way it's being described, it could significantly reshape how elemental reactions are prioritized in team building. There is already some indication of this within the 6.6 beta files, where Diana's constellation directly references stellar conduct, suggesting that this system is already in development and not just an early concept. A dedicated superconduct-focused main DPS designed to work directly with Sandrone is rumored, along with a melt-focused cryo carry. According to rumors, this melt-focused pyro character could potentially be Alice herself, although this is still early information and should be treated as speculation rather than confirmation. Version 7.1 and 7.2 will continue expanding Snezhnaya's story, introducing more Fatui and Harbinger characters, which means the narrative intensity is only going to increase from here. By the time version 7.0 arrives, major story arcs are expected to reach their conclusion, placing Teyvat at a critical turning point, especially with the Fatui storyline approaching its climax. This shift may feel less like a standard patch cycle and more like the beginning of a completely new era for the game, where both gameplay systems and story direction evolve together. With Snezhnaya approaching on the horizon, the scale of what's coming next is hard to ignore. Alongside these characters, long-awaited figures such as Dainsleif, Pantalone, Pierrot, and Saritsa the Cryo Archon are expected to appear across the 7X versions. Everything points toward a steady escalation, both in terms of story stakes and gameplay complexity. That wraps up the full roadmap for version 6.6 and everything waiting just ahead. New characters are stepping into focus, major storylines are tightening, and the upcoming patches are packed with momentum. The months ahead are shaping up to be anything but quiet, and every update feels like it's pushing the game closer to a major turning point. Make sure you're ready when these updates arrive because things are only speeding up from here. If you want to stay updated on every leak, reveal, and banner shift, subscribe and turn on notifications so nothing slips past you. Thanks for sticking till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, now we're talking.